So basically all I wanted to talk about when it came for the channel update, I've been thinking about this one for a bit now, kind of where the future of the channel was going to go, kind of what's been going on. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen it, saw it, done did it, but I've had a lot of direction of what I was doing with the channel. I was kind of in a spot where I was getting kind of, how do I want to say it? Like, overthinking myself a lot and just trying to think about what I could do for the channel to make it more beneficial in the future, or growth, I guess, in the future. And so there's a lot of different pathways, and the only thing that I really wanted to explain is kind of the thought process, because I like to try to be transparent on the channel for those who care and kind of wondering like, well, why the hell are you doing this game and that game and this, and I just want to see this. So there's two different pathways and stuff that has always kind of fueled the channel. So my love for gacha games in general, I'm gonna be 100% honest, has started to decline very steadily. I've seen a lot of gacha games where I'm like, this is cool, play it for a couple of days, and I'm like, all right, that was cool. So with that being said, really the main focus was like, okay, well, do I just dive straight into Arknights and just envelop myself in Arknights, because that seemingly is the only gacha game that I really care about right now. To be 100% honest, it's almost the only game I really care about right now. It's the only thing that I really want to play, and it's the only gacha game for 100% sure right now that I even want to like invest time into, read the stories and do all that stuff. So it's like, well, do I invest that amount of time and just dive straight forward into Arknights and try to figure out if I can somehow carve out a little section of the Arknights community that maybe I can do something a little bit different, take a little inspiration from some of the people that I idolize, you know, Viper and Cookie and all that stuff. I probably wouldn't make guides or anything like that, but find a way to do that with Arknights. Or do I try to branch out into actual console, PC, mainstream games? Okay. And so I tried that with Street Fighter 6, which is actually a game that I'm pretty excited for personally. And I kind of knew it wouldn't stick, because YouTube is really about you throw shit at the wall and you hope that something sticks, and if it doesn't, you move on. That's basically how it is for YouTube. And there's stuff that's a hit and there's stuff that's a miss. And I just think that my channel right now is in such a weird place. I've experimented so much with the channel that it actually started to negatively influence the channel, to a point where I last month, and this isn't like a dig at anybody, any part of the community or anything. It's totally my fault for kind of, first off, having a job where I couldn't post as much, obviously, and people come to expect kind of daily content, because normally that's what I would do. Secondly, I was doing a couple different things on the channel that I wouldn't normally do, Street Fighter and other games and stuff like that. I actually had almost a negative month for subs and all that different stuff. So again, this is just for the sake of transparency and kind of what I was going through this last, like, you know, December or so. And I know what everybody's going to say. You should play like what your heart desires. You should play what you want. You should try to like grow in a new niche and stuff like that. So the hardest part about doing something like that is my channel is so embedded in Arknights, in just kind of that. If you think about it, and I don't know, if you think about it, out of my 8K subs, I would almost say that almost more than half of that is from Arknights. So really the channel update is just me talking about the fact that, first off, I'm probably just going to make a second channel. And honestly, that's not going to happen until June. So announcement for a second channel, I guess, if anybody cares. That's not going to happen until June, and it's probably going to be like Street Fighter base and maybe a couple of single player games or something, and try to go do that. But the problem that I have with making a second channel, and the only reason I say June is because that's when Street Fighter 6 comes out, and that's really the only other game I want to play besides Arknights. The problem with making a second channel is I can't really keep up with this current channel if I have my full-time job. Yeah, see, that's the issue, Kami, is like, do I juggle two and try to hope one pays off, or do I just go in and play Arknights and do this? And yeah, it splits my audience. And honestly, bro, I think 100% we were okay. I don't see, the way that I want to say this is not in a bad way against the community, because again, it's 100% my fault. But the last almost year, I've almost been playing Arknights for a year, but the last year we have built like one of the best communities and something that I've been so happy to be a part of, and something that I never even knew that I could build. Like on Discord, we have like 700 members, and most of you guys are active, and everybody's always in there. And of course, it's been kind of slower because of the holidays. People got shit going on and stuff like that. And like the streams, bro, like I was hitting probably like 200 and some viewers and stuff like that on the Arknights stuff. And again, don't think that this is bashing anybody. Everybody who shows up, everybody's got stuff and schedules and stuff like that. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's more from the point of like, I was not being persistent on what was working, and I kept trying to find the key, the answer, the what's going to all of a sudden blow the channel up to a point where I can make this full time and, you know, do all this stuff. Because what had happened is, for a long time, in this last almost 9 months, I was solely on YouTube. You know what I mean? I had, you know, about enough with the deals and stuff like that to make about $1,500 a month. You know, I'll be 100% honest, you know, with going through sponsorships and all the subs and donations and members and stuff like that. I had about $1,500 a month. So, you know, good enough. But, you know, I got Mrs. Part-Timer, I got baby Artie and that stuff. So I had to get a real job, obviously. And to be 100% honest, I've always struggled. If I have two things that I have to do, I always have to sacrifice one. Does that ever make sense? Like, I don't know how to say it. Like, if I was to play Arknights and Genshin at the same time, like my brain can't like really shut one off and turn one on. One's gonna get dogged on, or one's gonna get like left behind a little bit. You know what I mean? I might come back and switch it on and off, but like, my core community and the community that I have liked the most so far has been Arknights, and the game that I've enjoyed the most is Arknights. And so, I mean, to be 100% honest, in conclusion of all this different stuff, I've just realized that I had a really good formula. At the end of the day, I had a really good spot where I was at Arknights and I was hitting peak numbers and I was doing peak viewership, and I was really happy and having a lot of fun playing the game and doing the stories. And for whatever reason, it's like you see something working, but you get to a point, like you might say like, oh, well, having 200 concurrent viewers, man, that's like on top of the world. Most YouTubers don't even get that. But then whenever you get that for so long, it becomes somewhat normal. You know what I mean? So then when you hit a lower number or whatever, you're like, oh, well, what the hell am I doing wrong? What the hell? And it could be anything. It could be a number of different things. It could be because you have a pop-up stream. It could be because the side story you're playing just isn't really that well known, or maybe people just don't care right now about it, or anything. And so then you kind of wonder like, okay, well, that must be something that I'm doing personally, because I had these numbers and now I don't. And that happens a lot with Arknights, because there's ebbs and flows and ups and downs of any niche in the whole entire world. And it's really hard for me to see that and be like, oh, this isn't my fault. This is just the way of the nature. Like, it's hard for me to like push myself out of it and be like, oh, it's not because of me. It's just because that's just, you know, that's just the concurrent flow of how, you know, content in general works. So instead of just riding the flow, I'm thinking, oh, there must be something else I got to do. It must be because this or that. I mean, because at the end of the day, I've thought about it a lot, and obviously I overthink all the time about which way the direction the channel needs to go and all this different stuff, and whether I'm going to get pigeonholed and whether I'm going to get screwed and whether I'm going to like, it's hard, bro. It's hard. And anybody who has an overthinking or has self-doubt or doesn't have a lot of confidence, I think that you guys probably understand what I'm talking about. You do that with every decision and every single day, and it gets exhausting. It gets so exhausting looking at the channel and thinking like, well, could I do better? Could this happen? Could I do this? Oh my God, what if I did this? And it's like, it's just what ifs all the time, every day. It's what ifs, what ifs, what ifs. And it's like, unfortunately, the world doesn't work on what ifs, and unfortunately, it's just is exhausting. It gets exhausting, and it makes YouTube a chore, because I'm thinking about all these things that I should be doing or could be doing or whatever. So I just want to have discussions and play the story and maybe shut off that part of the brain for a little bit and make content that I'm having fun, sit with the community, not care about how many people are here, play a side story if I think it's cool, review the side story, let people know what's going on, be part of the anime. You know, there's things that I was starting to cultivate, and the starts of a presence on Arknights that I was starting to have, and I was foregoing that and sacrificing that because I thought that there was a higher, you know, path or a better path or whatever, you know what I mean? And it's hurt my channel overall, and honestly, it's hurt my self-esteem, and it's kind of just hurt my overall happiness towards YouTube. And I just kind of want to revene back to that and get kind of back to that point where everybody kind of knows what's going on the channel. We can all have fun on a game that we all really love. I hope that it lasts as long as it can last.